actual picture. I didn't Photoshop this. So this is in San Diego. The escalator existed, and then they put in a gym, and then they just didn't get rid of the escalator because it was convenient. Don't burn too many calories before you get into the gym, I guess. So this is just a nice quote that we liked, and I know you guys have had talks that were pretty heavy on the genetics. There is a big genetic component to this. Genetics will load the gun. The environment is what pulls the trigger. So you are definitely predisposed to being overweight or obese based on what your background is, your genes, and all of that. But all of these conveniences and big portion sizes and high fat foods and all of that, that will ultimately pull the trigger and contribute to that obesity. This is also really small for you guys. So these are some of the portion sizes then and now. So we'll just go through that. Little burger 20 years ago, 333 calories, and now it's almost 600. So just about doubled. The pizza, 2 slices went from this to like all of them are the New York style now, 500 up to almost 900. The little plate of spaghetti, little teeny tiny portion, all of a sudden has jumped up to almost 1,100 calories. So, you know, the drinks and look at that little muffin. I mean, I know people that eat those little packets of muffins like for breakfast, but they have to eat like 3 of them. That's actually a regular portion size, so just eat the one. This is also not photoshopped. This is on just about any regular street in regular city USA. There's all of these easily available fast foods. You don't have to get out of your car to stop and get some food. So that's just all kinds of things that you can easily see around here. And then some of the consequences, that goes back to those comorbidities. Cardiovascular disease is huge, 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 huge. For women, cardiovascular disease is the biggest cause of death. So mainly heart disease, high cholesterol, stroke, the high blood pressure, all of that, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea. If you've ever had anybody tell you that you snore and you were in that BMI of being overweight to obese, I would encourage you to get a sleep study done. You probably have sleep apnea, and it can be very dangerous to let that go undiagnosed. So that is something big related to that as well. And then arthritis and joint pain. And I'll let Melissa take over. All right.
Everybody.
Whoa. Can everybody hear me?
So my name is Melissa Moody, and I'm one of the licensed clinical social workers at the Bariatric Center. And what I do is I work with both the surgical and medical programs. So I work with patients before they have surgery. I do like their evaluations, and I also work with them post-operatively and do counseling. Our non-surgical folks, that's more of a structured program. So I meet with them regularly and do counseling and focus more on like behaviors and goal setting and that kind of thing. So the psychological consequences of obesity, psychological issues can be a precursor to obesity, but they can also follow ongoing struggles to control weight. Individuals who suffer from psychological disorders such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders like binge eating disorder, they may have more difficulty controlling their consumption of food since food is often used as a coping strategy. So there's this perpetual cycle of mood disturbance followed by overeating and then weight gain. Over 90% of obese individuals have depression. It's very common for individuals affected by obesity to have limitations. So I often hear from patients that they have a hard time just bending down to tie their shoe or crossing their legs. And they also have, as Sarah mentioned, multiple medical issues. And so this can oftentimes impact your mood because I hear all the time, you know, their body just limits them. They want to get out there and do things and be active. They want to keep up with their grandkids, get on the floor with them, play with them, small kids too, you know, rather than just being an observer. So, you know, you could see how that would definitely impact their mood. Okay, let's see, where's the, okay. So consequences of obesity. Overweight and obese individuals are often targets of bias and stigma, and they are vulnerable to negative attitudes in places of employment, educational institutions, medical facilities, the mass media, and interpersonal relationships. The general attitude of society is that those affected by obesity are fair game for overt expressions of dislike, contempt, derogatory humor. Studies show that Americans feel that obese people are actually responsible for their condition, which they believe is caused by laziness and gluttony, when in actuality, human behavior, as you know, is very complex. So it's driven by various biological factors. Obese individuals are often aware of these negative views held by society, and therefore they internalize them. They often suffer from low self-esteem and as a result feel very uncomfortable in their own skin. These feelings may then, lead to a strain in their personal relationships. The media is a breeding ground for obesity stereotypes. Obese characters you see in TV shows and movies, they're often portrayed as overindulging on junk food and less likely to be involved in romantic relationships. And an example of this that I thought of is, everyone here familiar with the show Friends? You remember that show? So there's a character on there, Monica. Apparently, when she was younger, she struggled with her weight and she was obese. So when you see then Monica, she's portrayed as attractive, lovable, but as soon as she has on that fat suit, she's portrayed as unable to stop eating and pathetic, really. So it's important to note how obesity stereotypes are noted in the media, in movies and TV shows. There's a lot of poking fun about the stereotypes. So, what is weight bias? Weight bias fosters blame and intolerance that as a result reduces quality of life for those affected by obesity. Those who experience weight bias puts them at risk for psychological, emotional, and health-related consequences, some of which reinforce weight gain and obesity. Okay, so if you take a look at this picture and notice the woman's reaction when she's looking at the lady walking down the street, and it's reactions like this that are far too common in society. Unfortunately, individuals affected by obesity often feel socially isolated. They may have trouble finding clothes that fit them, that look good, that are flattering. Oftentimes, stores don't even carry clothes in larger sizes. So, that affects their self-esteem. They often avoid social functions because of this. They don't want these looks, that kind of thing. Stigma may come in several forms. Verbal types of bias is the most common, and examples of this include ridicule, teasing, insults, derogatory names. Other barriers and obstacles due to weight include medical equipment being too small. Chairs and seats in public venues often don't accommodate obese people. Also, like airplane seats, turnstiles, what else? Amusement park rides, cars even, they're designed for people of normal weight. So you can see how someone affected by obesity can definitely feel excluded in society. Many obese individuals report that they have had trouble when trying to get a job. Some people may make judgments about an overweight person's character based on their appearance. So they may see obesity as a sign of weakness, laziness, or a lack of willpower. They may be viewed as less competent by their coworkers and employers. So basically, there's this attitude in society that when someone's affected by obesity, they lack willpower. If they would just eat less, they would lose the weight. If they would just, try harder, that kind of thing. So it's these kinds of attitudes that cross over into how they're perceived as people, as well as employees in the workplace. These attitudes can have a negative impact on wages, promotions, and decisions about employment status. So, for instance, an obese employee may be denied a position or promotion due to his or her appearance, despite being appropriately qualified. Job applicants affected by obesity are rated as having poor self-discipline, low supervisory potential, less ambition and productivity, higher likelihood of being hired for a job requiring little face-to-face contact. They have a harder time being recommended by managers for promotion as compared to other candidates, and they have less of a chance to get hired in high-level positions. Women affected by obesity are more likely to be in low-paying jobs than thinner women. Men affected by obesity in managerial and professional positions are typically underrepresented and paid less than men not affected by obesity. Obese employees are more likely to be fired due to prejudiced employers and arbitrary weight standards. So, does a weight bias exist within you? These are some questions to reflect on. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's like, where did it go? Let me go through this. Okay. So, first question, do I make assumptions based only on weight regarding a person's character, intelligence, professional success, health status, or lifestyle behaviors? Am I comfortable working with people of all shapes and sizes, or do you tend to have preconceived notions based on a person's appearance and their weight? Am I sensitive to the needs and concerns of obese individuals? So it's important to encourage a work environment where all staff feel supported, encouraged, understood, everybody feels comfortable and included. Okay. All right, so before progress can be made, it starts with being honest with yourself. It's very important to note, and I think it's underlined here, that most individuals affected by obesity have likely made many efforts already at weight loss. Awareness through education is very important, which is why having presentations like this can help you identify if a weight bias exists within you or if it's something you've witnessed in the workplace. And also it's important to note that stigma makes obesity more resistant to treatment, so thus reducing the likelihood of healthy behaviors. Education, very, very important. Your attendance at this presentation is a great start. Hopefully it encourages you to think about your own bias, you know, how the attitudes you see in society, just reflect on if you have any of those same attitudes, or if it's something that you witness in your coworkers. It's important to hold yourself accountable as well as your peers. Challenge negative attitudes by pointing out inappropriate comments. So how can we address obesity in the workplace? One way to do that is to create a workplace environment that facilitates healthy living, and you can do that by offering healthy food choices. I know a lot of y'all eat salads, so that's a good thing. Removing unhealthy foods from vending machines, creating opportunities for physical activity. I know at our place of employment at Norton, they offer a program, I think it's called YMCA in the workplace or YMCA at work, and basically there's instructors from classes from the Y. They come and facilitate classes at our downtown campus, like in the wellness center. So they do like yoga classes, cardio, kickboxing, and it's in a convenient location because it's on the work site. You could bring your coworkers, come with you, so it really fosters that, you know, physical activity. So that's one example of how to do that. It's also important to note that it's important to create an open environment where employees affected by obesity can express their concerns without there being any fear of termination. Okay, so these are some important points to summarize on. Obesity is indeed an epidemic. It's a disease that we're only beginning to understand. Education is key in making changes, and it's important to take action. And I just thought this was a good quote to end on. Judge me by the size of my heart, my mind, and my contributions to society, not by the size of my belt. I think this is really important because we all want to feel valued in the workplace rather than judged, you know, based on our appearance and our weight. So I just thought that was a good quote to end on.